track how many times the word racism was mentioned. And around 2012, it shoots up.
Yep.
Social justice shoots up. Transgenderism shoots up. White privilege shoots up. This was forced on the American people. Why are we having these conversations now? No, the people did not wake up one day and decide we want to have a national conversation about chicks with dicks. That didn't happen. This wasn't an organic movement. It was all of the most powerful people decided this is what we're going to talk about. And why was that? Look, when you're failing on policy, you pivot to a culture war.
Yep.
You pit people against each other, so they're fighting each other.
Okay, folks, how you doing? Well, I thought this was interesting. This is a post just from Elon Musk, but I thought it was interesting because it points out that graph illustrating the woke mind virus taking over legacy media. Now, this started in about 2012. Okay, this wokeism, this race war, I mean, it was building up and it was fueled, but Obama ushered in quite a bit of this because all of a sudden in 2012, this culture war, especially involving woke, really increased, really heightened. I mean, a lot. In about 2012, the legacy media started pushing DEI, which is just basically institutionalized racism, concepts like that, and then pushing like LGBTQ, of course, racism, any phobes, things like that. So they started to get very divisive. And the one thing Barack Obama adhered to as his mantra essentially was division, division, division. He's an adherent of Marxism. So let's go ahead and look at what Elon Musk is talking about here. He said this graph illustrates the woke mind virus taking over legacy media. The same happened with online media and the education system. Then it spread to other countries. The infection rate is almost 100%, but now it will die. And so here's just a graph showing this. The New York Times, where the term frequency in popular U.S. newspapers. And again, remember, I mentioned 2012. Well, you will see that this is correct, okay? Terms frequency used in popular U.S. newspapers: racist plus racists plus racism. Okay, these terms right here. Relative frequency is look at just you can see by the pattern of the graph. It's pretty low. It's pretty steady down here, and remained low throughout from 1970, since it was tracked, I think. There was a little bump in the late 90s. And then as you can see, a massive, massive jump in when about 2012, 2013. And look at that. By 2015, it just shot right up. And remember, and then Trump became president. And so it was increased on purpose to cause chaos, okay? Because that narrative right there was meant to be used against him or his followers, things like that. So you can see that, like New York Times, from 2010 to 2020, it shot up by 712%. LA Times, 756%. Washington Post, 361%. Wall Street Journal, 468%. Yeah, so this tells you they're all on the same team here, which is to cause chaos and this increases their not only division right here, but this is a way for them to increase like sales and viewership of their articles, stuff like that. But really, it's just the promotion of propaganda to keep people pitted against one another, while we look the other way, while, say, like big banks, the Federal Reserve, and the feds themselves do whatever they want, and we won't bother them, okay? So, and the last thing they want is, now in 2012, I mean, this was right after the banking crisis, like the collapse of Wall Street in about 2008, 2009, and Occupy Wall Street started to take effect. And they were like, oh man, all these crazy leftists are starting to look at the banks and starting to call us out on our felonies, our offenses, our stealing of money, and our fraud. And they were like, we can't have that. So we're going to push something that's going to turn the leftists against other people instead of looking at the government or the banks, our fraudulent activities. So bingo, you call up the feds and you call up the newspapers and go, hey, focus on racism because there's too many eyes because of Occupy Wall Street. There's too many eyes on the banks right now and our fraudulent activities. And the one thing the powers that be would absolutely hate more than anything is if people on the left and people on the right both came together and pointed at the culprit, which is them, the banks, and like the federal government, especially the consolidation of executive powers right now that they're doing throughout the judicial system, all that. They're kind of hijacking all these other branches of government and trying to consolidate it under executive control, which equals what? Totalitarianism. So let's go ahead and look here and check something. So Gunther Eagleman says, legacy media is on its last breath. Good riddance. There are people who think the USA is more racist now than it was 100 years ago. It's a clown show. Yeah, that's actually true. And why? Because the powers that be are fueling this. They are the direct cause of this. Make no mistake, folks. And this is why they want to censor you. Okay, remember, there's this, I forget what it's called, e-safety digital censorship policy that I think several governments are trying to latch on to, which is really a WEF induced policy, a UN induced policy. They always call it safe, but remember, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's meant to just simply censor you. They have no interest in your safety. Believe me. If you think these governments out there have any interest in your safety, you are absolutely mistaken, 100% whole. That I know. Okay? If they were concerned about your safety, they would go out there and they would start turning these crimes misdemeanors that when they did the defund the police movement, they turned a whole bunch of felonies into misdemeanors, or they took felonies and simply said, we're just not even going to arrest them anymore. Rapes, murders, things like that, they would crack down on that. But right now they're doing the opposite. They're loosening those policies for sure, especially in blue cities and blue states. It's wild how the media will do anything to keep control over the way people think. But who's controlling the media? Well, that's a good question. I mean, one is, I believe most of the mainstream media, legacy media right now is controlled by, it's state affiliated. I believe it's subsidized and through the use of intimidation. Look how many people at CNN and MSNBC, look how many of their broadcasters were formerly in the CIA. Okay, they'll hire somebody who is a former CIA advisor. Okay, Anderson Cooper worked for the CIA at one time. Okay, albeit it was a small role, nevertheless, they have the power over these people. So don't make no mistake, NPR, yeah, it's a state-affiliated media, but so are all the mainstream legacy media right now. I think the New York Times especially, those are all controlled by the CIA, State Department. They come and they intimidate them now. And they also get people to work there who are former CIA, former NSA people, just like with Facebook, Meta, whatever it's called now. If you look at some of the LinkedIn profiles of their C-suite members, you will see many of them actually work for the NSA and many of them work for the CIA or the FBI also, or DARPA as well, which is like the defense something research. Anyway, that's a Pentagon affiliated group. So, yeah. So legacy media is absolutely scared of what X has achieved. Oh, I was going to say this too. And this is related to the e-safety thing I was saying. sorry, I digress. The e-safety thing is what the Australian government was going on about the other day when they were going after Elon Musk. They were like, well, we have this e-safety policy to keep people protected from, like, we need to have social media decorum and from online sensitivities, the dangers of online speech and misinformation. They always call it misinformation. It doesn't necessarily mean it's misinformation. It just means that it goes against their agenda. That's why they were so pissed off. So they're trying to leverage this e-safety policy worldwide at the behest of like the WEF to control speech. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with your safety. They could give two shits about your safety, I promise you. And so she was going off on Elon. She's like, he's disgusting. He needs to be thrown in. This bloke needs to be thrown in jail. And that's the term. That's what they're using down in Australia to make it sound like they're tough. Same with Albanese, whatever, the prime minister too, who is an installed plant from the WEF. He was saying the same thing. He used the exact same phrase she did. This bloke needs to be thrown in jail. This bloke needs to be dealt with. They kept saying that exact phrase. And so, make no mistake, they want to, they just don't like that you've discovered their narratives, that you're revealing what's really going on. And the reason Australia was having such a fit about it was because of the stabbing of that bishop, that Christian bishop at that church, by that Muslim Aloha snack bar dude. And they were like, please take this post down showing this video and showing these articles. The Australian government said that. And Elon Musk said, sorry, it's a private platform. I'm going to keep it up. And so Australia went apeshit. And that should reveal to you your answer. If they go apeshit over that, the fact that this is free speech and people can see that, then it tells you their motives are nefarious. Let's see. Yeah. And people are starting to call the e-safety policy to censor social media. They're calling it e-Karen. And I thought that was pretty good. Why do you think our e-Karen is coming after you, Elon? All the legacy media hail her. And yet that's because X exposes their lies to the world. X is truth. MSM is garbage. I blame Obama for the woke virus and the graph supports it. Well, yeah, because this was at the time of Obama. And as I said, he's an avowed Marxist. Just look at, if he hasn't said it outright, look at his policies, look at his behaviors, and look at the end results of his policies. By your fruits you shall know them. Well, that's the fruits of the Obama administration. I love those group videos where you can actually hear them saying the exact same thing. They look like parrots. The woke young people writing for newspapers are all Tumblr graduates who are changing the corporate culture in these places and counseling their predecessors. It happens to people like Barry Weiss and more recently Yuri Berliner, the NPR journalist. The truth is powerful. It resonates within our spirits. Sane, rational humans have discernment. X is assisting curing the mind virus. The culmination of years of relentless brainwashing and indoctrination will mean some will never ever be cured. And I was going to say about this, that's why we're seeing certain narratives that are being pushed by nefarious entities like, say, Democrats or certain NGOs. The one thing they want this year is they want another George Floyd 2.0. They want more riots. They want more chaos, just like they had in 2020. The thing is they absolutely hate Elon Musk and Twitter right now because since he's bought it, he's exposing these crumb bags for what they are. I have a feeling that if Twitter would have been owned by Elon Musk back at the time of George Floyd, when the George Floyd death happened, there would not have been the intensity of rioting around the country at all, simply because people would have been able to see the truth about the narrative that the mainstream media was plugging. And so now that's one aspect. I mean, COVID played another part in that too. But I just believe that this time around, they're trying to push certain narratives. They tried to push the Dexter Reed narrative a week ago. to create. You could tell the media was trying to create another George Floyd 2.0, where there would be riots in every city and burning down buildings, all this stuff. It did not work. And I believe one of the main reasons is because Twitter is much less censored than it used to be. And so people immediately, within 5 minutes, were going, boom, I can see it. They're trying to start riots again. It's an election year. The Democrats are trying to start riots. And the media is their bulldog. The media goes out there and pushes their propaganda to instigate these riots. But I believe Twitter plays a huge part in the fact that it destroyed the Dexter Reed narrative within 5 minutes. And I wish that would have happened in 2020, but it didn't, because it was not a censorship-free platform. Is X perfect? No. Is it completely censorship-free? No, it has its issues, but it's a lot better than it used to be. Anyway, I digress. So I think it's more of an agenda than a virus. What Orwell once called meaningless words, Jeff Deist actually had a great article on this. And I'll end with this. Words like social justice, bigot, xenophobe, racist, fascist, misogynist, socialist, dreamer, snowflake, liberal, conservative, and democracy are the meaningless words of our day. Nobody knows what they mean anymore. They are used as bullets in a form of verbal warfare, not as honest descriptions. In fact, they are used quite dishonestly with the intent to deceive, as Orwell put it. In other words, they are used to serve the speaker's or writer's agenda rather than to create understanding. Political jargon is abused until it loses all value, either to describe praise or insult. Yeah, and that's the thing, the woke mind virus, I kind of agree with her on this one. It's more of an agenda. But this agenda has caught on like a virus. So, somebody says, Truth Justice, it's time to destroy the legacy media, the greatest tool of the communist WEF members trying to infect humanity with their sickness and diseased minds. Okay, so I promised that I would end with that, and I will end with this, sorry. This all started under Obama, who set race relations back 100 years, which was his purpose. That was the purpose. Obama used race to divide the nation that had moved past the color of someone's skin, ironically choosing Obama twice only for him to be a race baiter and divider. So anyway, let me know what you think of that. I think it's kind of interesting. It's revealing some of the stuff I was aware of. There's always a little tidbits in the comments that reveal a little more. But let me know what you think in the comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please put a like on the video. Sorry about the brightness behind me. It's a little crazy. But anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and I will talk to you later. Bye.